Your landlord kept your $1,200 deposit. Was it legal? Imagine this. You spend 2 years renting a home in Casper, Wyoming. You pay on time, every month. You keep the place clean. Then, when you move out, your landlord pockets your entire $1,200 security deposit. No itemized list, no receipts, no explanation. Just silence. Or picture this. You report a broken heater in January in Wyoming, and your landlord responds by threatening to evict you. These situations happen every single day to renters across this state. And the hard truth? Most tenants don't fight back because they don't know the law is actually on their side. Here's what I need you to understand before we go any further. Wyoming law gives you specific, enforceable rights as a tenant. Your landlord is not above the law, and neither is your lease. If a lease clause violates Wyoming statute, it is unenforceable, period. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what your landlord can and cannot legally do, and precisely how to protect yourself if they cross the line. Let's get into it. Before we dive in, and this is important, I am not a lawyer. This video is for informational purposes only. Laws vary by state and can change. Nothing in this video constitutes legal advice. For guidance specific to your situation, always consult a licensed attorney in Wyoming. With that said, the laws we're covering today are real, they're current as of 2026, and every renter in Wyoming deserves to know them. We'll be referencing Wyoming Statutes Title I, Chapter 21, Residential Rental Property, the Federal Fair Housing Act, and Wyoming Small Claims Court procedures. Let's start with the issue that affects nearly every renter at some point, the security deposit. Wyoming law does not cap the amount a landlord can charge for a security deposit, so a landlord can legally ask for 1 month's rent, 2 months, or more. But, and this is critical, what they do with that deposit is tightly regulated. Under Wyoming Statute 1-21-1208, when you move out, your landlord has 30 days to either return your full deposit or provide you with an itemized written statement of any deductions, along with the remaining balance. If your landlord misses that 30-day window without providing a proper accounting, they may forfeit the right to keep any portion of the deposit. Deductions are only allowed for unpaid rent, damage beyond normal wear and tear, or specific costs outlined in your lease. Normal wear and tear, scuffs on walls, minor carpet wear, small nail holes cannot be deducted. If your landlord tries to charge you for repainting walls after a 5-year tenancy, that's likely not legal. What to do? When you move in, do a walkthrough and document everything with dated photos and video. Send a written copy of your move-in condition report to your landlord and keep a copy. Do the same when you move out. If your deposit isn't returned within 30 days and no itemized statement is provided, you can take your landlord to Wyoming Small Claims Court for amounts up to $6,000. No attorney required. Let's talk about eviction, because this is where landlord abuses get serious fast. In Wyoming, a landlord cannot remove you from a property without going through the legal eviction process. They cannot change your locks, remove your doors or windows, shut off your utilities to force you out, or remove your belongings. These actions are known as self-help evictions, and they are illegal in Wyoming. So what does a legal eviction look like? For non-payment of rent, your landlord must give you a written 3-day notice to pay or quit under Wyoming Statute 1-21-1002. That means 3 days to pay what you owe or vacate before any court filing can begin. For lease violations, the landlord must typically give you reasonable written notice to correct the violation. For month-to-month tenancies, either party must give 30 days written notice to terminate the tenancy. After notice periods expire, if you haven't paid, moved, or corrected the issue, the landlord must file an unlawful detainer lawsuit in court. You then have the right to appear before a judge and present your case. Key move: if you receive any eviction-related notice, respond in writing, keep copies of everything, and consider contacting Wyoming Legal Services at 1-800-422-6170 for free or low-cost legal help. Here's something Wyoming landlords don't love to hear. They are legally required to maintain your rental unit in a habitable condition. Under Wyoming's implied warranty of habitability and consistent with national housing standards, your landlord must ensure the property has working heat and plumbing, structural safety, functioning electrical systems, pest control when infestations affect habitability, and compliance with local health and safety codes. If something breaks through no fault of your own, here's the proper process. Notify your landlord in writing. Text message or email with a timestamp works. Always follow up verbal requests with written confirmation. Give reasonable time to repair. What's reasonable depends on severity. A heater in January? Urgent. A slow drain? Less so. If they refuse or ignore you, document everything and consult an attorney about options like rent withholding or repair and deduct. Important, Wyoming does not have a formal repair and deduct statute like some states. Do not withhold rent or make unauthorized repairs without legal advice. This could expose you to eviction. Get an attorney's guidance first. This one is powerful, and most renters have no idea it exists. Under Wyoming law, if you report a housing code violation, complain about habitability, or organize with other tenants, your landlord cannot retaliate against you by raising your rent suddenly, decreasing your services, or threatening or filing a retaliatory eviction. If your landlord takes adverse actions shortly after you've exercised a legal right, courts may view that timing as evidence of retaliation. Document everything. If you filed a complaint with the city on Monday and received an eviction notice on Friday, you want a paper trail showing the sequence of events. Date-stamped emails, certified mail receipts, and written logs of phone calls all become evidence in your favor. Here's something where federal law steps in, and it applies in every state, including Wyoming. The Federal Fair Housing Act prohibits landlords from discriminating based on race, color or national origin, religion, sex, including gender identity and sexual orientation, familial status, having children, and disability. This means a landlord cannot refuse to rent to you because of who you are, impose different lease terms on protected class applicants, claim a unit is unavailable when it isn't, or refuse to make reasonable accommodations for a tenant with a disability. Wyoming also enforces the Fair Housing Act through the Wyoming Fair Employment Program, and complaints can be filed with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development at hud.gov or by calling 1-800-669-9777, free of charge. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what not to do, because good intentions can backfire legally. Don't stop paying rent without legal advice. Even if your unit is inhabitable, unilaterally withholding rent in Wyoming can trigger eviction proceedings. Pursue legal remedies first. Don't rely on verbal agreements. "My landlord said he'd fix it" means nothing in court without written proof. Every agreement, every promise, every permission, get it in writing. Don't ignore notices. Any written notice from your landlord, especially eviction notices, has a legal clock attached. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away, it shortens your window to respond. Don't move out without documenting everything. Returning keys without a written move-out walkthrough puts your entire deposit at risk. Do a joint inspection with your landlord if possible, and always photograph the unit before you leave. Let's bring it all together. As a Wyoming renter in 2026, here's what you now know. Your landlord has 30 days to return your deposit or provide an itemized deduction list. Self-help evictions, changing locks, cutting utilities, are illegal. You have the right to a habitable home, including heat, plumbing, and structural safety. Landlords cannot retaliate against you for asserting your legal rights. Federal Fair Housing Act protects you from discrimination statewide. Your most powerful tool as a tenant is documentation. Write everything down. Date everything. Send everything by text or email so there's a timestamp. Keep copies of your lease, your move-in photos, your repair requests, and every communication with your landlord. If you believe your rights have been violated, you have options. Wyoming Legal Services at 1-800-422-6170, HUD Fair Housing Complaints at hud.gov or 1-800-669-9777.